These purification psalms are wonderful because they enable us to search into our deep minds for hidden, what I call evil thoughts. And when I'm saying evil, I don't mean it in a moralistic way. I'm talking about, like, you know, if you've smelled it like a dead rat or something, it's an evil smell. Okay, that's what I'm talking about, evil. All of those guilt-based thoughts, especially shame and guilt and unforgiveness, that's just festering, and we have no idea how powerful those thoughts are in contributing to our problems in our lives. So regularly we want to go in and use these purification psalms to relieve ourselves of all of that suppressed guilt and things that we're ashamed of, and maybe things that mistakes we've made and things like that. It's very important to do that on a regular basis, and we notice that we're a lot lighter. Our vibrations, quote, our vibrations are raised, and we start to notice that we do, I hate using these words, but manifest in a much better way, and our problems are not as we're not encumbered with so many, especially of those nefarious self-induced problems that we had been. And it's amazing once we start getting rid of that, how many problems that we had that we really thought had nothing to do with us, but we had a huge hand in at least keeping alive. So I encourage you to do these. There's 7 of these, and there's many psalms that work in that way, but these are traditionally the 7. So today we're doing Psalm number 6, one of the collection of 7, and I like to start out with the Talisman. So I'm gonna freehand this because I'm gonna just use, well, actually I've already made this talisman, so maybe I'll just show it to you. I don't need to go through it all, okay? Because remember, we've been here before, but I made myself seasick. Okay, so today is Monday, day of the moon, right? So I put the 4 symbols of the moon at the crosses, at the corners. When I first do this circle, I make a semicircle, keep a little opening. Then what we do is we sign the name of our own name, or the name of the person that we're doing this work on behalf of, and I put in all viewers, so everybody's entitled to this. And then we come up with 1, 3, or 5 English words, just single words that represent the light that will dispel the specific darkness that we are addressing. This magic is primarily involved with the overcoming of problems. There's other ways to work this magic, but that's a big part of what we do, is overcoming our problems. And so I chose the words peace, forgiveness, and grace for this psalm. All right, and then I'll re-perfume them since I did it this morning, and now it's in the evening. So I like to use, I just use a commercial verbena perfume for my Van. You can use anything you like. This happens to be Verveine by L'Occitane, and you can get it online. And this lasts a good long time because I only use 2 spritzes right on the talisman, and then and that's all you have to do. You don't have to put anything else. Although if you're only using verbena, I would do 3 spritzes, so that's an even number. But I also happen to have some jasmine perfume, and we'll be going into, if it's not on there already, by the time you watch this, there's going to be a lot of other videos that explain how the Pauline arts, the angelic magic, work and how we use perfumes. But I'm using just a little spritz of jasmine because today is the day of Gabriel, or Gabriel, as some people say. And then we put the candle on top of that, and we've already lit this candle, but I'll relight it just because this is the same spell, I'm just redoing the video. It's so funny. And just again, you don't have to use the symbols of the moon, of the planet, to do the talisman. You can just do the circle. But just remember, you want to do a partial circle, so use a form of some sort, just use like a jar lid or something, or a glass. And leave a little opening on the top, and then you sign your name or the name of the person that you're working on behalf of, and then you put your magic or your power words. Make sure they're single words in the English language. Don't use Theban script. Don't use any of those magical scripts. It's actual English script printing, or I prefer cursive handwriting myself, but that's just totally, you know, a matter of taste and preference. And then once that is all written in there, then you draw that little circle closed. Just freehand is fine. And what that's doing is trapping the energy of those words within a circle, within the circle that also includes the name of the person for whom we are doing the work, usually ourselves. And then that focuses that energy into a laser beam, and that's all you need to do. But if you're also working with angels, and where you're going to be invoking Gabriel, we do that just through his symbol of the planet. He gets it. And then I also like to use just a tea light on here. You may use colors if you like, and sometimes I do. Usually I just go for the simple, the white. I like to keep everything very simple. I don't like to get encumbered with a lot of things. We'll talk more about the perfumes. I'm going to do a whole video on how to use the perfume, or on how I use the perfumes. But I don't want to get too much into that. So, but the psalm is the main crux of it. So what we do with this is we read the psalm first out loud once through as an incantation, and then we go through it verse by verse, line by line sometimes, and discuss the meanings and allow those meanings to be digested by us so that we get them to sink deeply into our deep mind. And then these are actually like seeds that are planted in the deep mind, and they grow after their kind. And in this case, what they're doing is these little seeds of light are going to be going into the deep mind and completely dispelling the darkness of all of that, all of those hidden negative thoughts. All right, so here we go. Psalm 6. Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I am weak. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are vexed. My soul is also sore vexed. But thou, O Lord, how long? Return, O Lord, deliver my soul. O save me for thy mercy's sake. For in death there is no remembrance of thee. In the grave who shall give thee thanks? I am weary with my groaning. All the night I make my bed to swim. I water my couch with my tears. Mine eye is consumed because of grief. It waxeth old because of all mine enemies. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. For the Lord hath heard the voice of my weeping. The Lord hath heard my supplication. The Lord will receive my prayer. Let all mine enemies be ashamed and sore vexed. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly. And it's good if you can to get into it like that. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. It depends on who's around. Today I'm alone, so I can just go for it. If not, do it internally. Just get into it. All right, so we're going to go through this psalm line by line, and notice what the psalms allow us to do. The psalms are not like what you hear about so much in things like law of attraction, whereas, you know, just think happy thoughts and happy things will come to you. This is much, much more sophisticated, and it actually works because we're not just pretending like those things don't exist in us. We are actually calling them up. We are going through them and then releasing them, and then letting the light shine through them. We are denying them by going through them, not by pretending they don't exist. Okay, so we start out by, O Lord, and remember the Lord. The Lord is your creator. Your creator is all-powerful. There is one creator. Now, there are many different ways to approach the creator. And if you think of the creator as both being an abstract being of principle, as well as being a very personal and loving parent, you get the idea of where to start with. And as a loving parent, the Lord can be the lady. The Lord can be mother. The Lord can be father. The Lord can be both mother and father, right? So, and it's okay to work with one or the other exclusively. It's fine. You're not going to offend God, I promise. Now, it says here, O Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. Now, you're going to see this a lot in the Psalms, where when you see these negative ideas that we're asking God not to embody or personify, remember that the Lord, this is called a projection. We're projecting this on God. The Lord would never rebuke us. The Lord would never be angry. The Lord would never chasten, and the Lord is never in displeasure with you. In fact, you are God's child in whom he is well pleased, and that's always the case. So perfect love is who God is, and as perfect love, as the source, as the one power, the one presence, and the one source, and perfect love, there is no displeasure, anger, none of that is in there. Okay, so this is reminding ourselves here is very important that when it feels as though that God is angry with you, that's a projection, that we are projecting that. Okay, so we are, but it's okay to take voice to that. Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. God can take it. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I am weak. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are vexed. Now you become weak and vexed when you are, when guilt and remorse and grievance and all those dark thoughts, those evil thoughts are allowed to fester. They bring nothing but pain. They bring nothing but pain. And if you don't think you're feeling this stuff, that's okay. It's good to do these things anyway, just in case. All right? So my soul is also vexed, but thou, O Lord, how long? Okay, my soul is vexed, the very depth of my being. You know that feeling in the pit of your stomach or in your heart where it's just like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it. I'm so afraid for the future, or I feel so bad about what happened, or I'm so angry at this person, or whatever it is, right? Whatever those so-called sins are that you're experiencing, then we say, how long, Lord? How long must I endure this? As if God's doing it to you, right? So that's very common, and it's okay to go through that. Return, O Lord, deliver my soul. O save me for thy mercy's sake. It's important to remember that even though we go through that feeling of return, O Lord, deliver my soul, Lord never left you. You left God by focusing your mind elsewhere. Okay, so you're now starting to turn your eyes back to the source, and you recognize that God can deliver your soul and save you. So when your soul is delivered, that means that you're no longer in anguish. And Savior, to be saved, it's completely up to whatever your situation is. If you're in prison, freedom is your Savior. If you're hungry, food is your Savior. If you're thirsty, water is your Savior. If you're lonely, companionship is your Savior. So the salvation is not just that you're going to feel better, but you're going to see things happen in your life. You're going to see the physical universe reflecting that, and that's your salvation. So you don't have to, God doesn't want you to endure torture and punishment in the physical world so that you can have a better life in the next world. That's not how this works. It's the torment itself that's causing your problems. So when we get rid of the torment, we are going to see huge, miraculous changes taking place, and you should start seeing it immediately. Now, that's not to say you'll never have another problem, but you're going to notice that you're not encumbered with so many problems. All right. For in death there is no remembrance of thee. In the grave, who shall give thee thanks? Okay, now this is good. The Psalms even show the trying to barter with God. Trying to barter with God, as if God is so egotistical that he needs you to give him thanks and to remember you, and that if that would be the reason why God would save you, because you feel like this could get so bad that you would die, right? And back then, I mean, they could die, even if they were in battle, right? So So don't let me die, because then who's gonna be here to give you thanks? Who's gonna be here to remember you? Who's gonna worship you? Okay, so that's just the psalmist making a deal with God, which is not necessary. God doesn't need you to make a deal with him. God doesn't need your thanks, but you need to thank God. You're the one that needs it, because you benefit by having that feeling and attitude of thankfulness or gratitude toward God. It gives you a clear relationship with God. I am weary with my groaning. All the night I make my bed to swim. I water my couch with tears. Now we're getting into it, right? I'm not sleeping well. I'm depressed. My attitude sucks. I can't even, I have a hard time even smiling at people. When I do smile at people, everybody can tell something's wrong with me, okay? So this is, you know, when you're really feeling bad, this is an amazing psalm to come to, and those other psalms like it. Mine eye is consumed because of grief. It waxeth old because of all mine enemies. There we go. My eye is consumed because of grief. Now your eye, yes, your eye, you're going to be crying, but also you're only noticing that which is grieving, that which is full of grief. You are projecting, you are seeing, you are seeing in your world only that which is a projection of that grief. Just like if you happen to be redoing your home and you have been, I don't know, looking at like poles for your drawers, you know, those little knobs, the poles, and you've been choosing poles. Well, then when you're around, all you're noticing is poles, because that's all you're thinking about. Well, if you're consumed with grief, all you're going to be noticing is how fucked up everything is and bad everything is. It waxeth old because of all mine enemies. And in this, waxing old meaning becoming decrepit. And your enemies, yes, your enemies in the physical world, but mostly the enemies of those thought forms deep within your conscious mind, in your deep mind, in your consciousness, in your subconscious mind. All right, then we say, okay, wait, let's just get on this. Let's just do this thing. And then the psalm starts to get into the magical moment here. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity, for the Lord hath heard the voice of my weeping. So even though you recognize that these things are down there, you're also recognizing that you don't need to keep them. So you are exercising yourself in the name of the Lord, right? Depart from me, you workers of iniquity. The workers of iniquity are all those thought forms. They are not your good friends. All those thought forms must leave because you said so. In the name of the Lord, meaning in the name of all power, the one presence, the one source, the one force, the one substance, all love, it's all light. And when you flip the light on in a dark room, the darkness just disappears. It departs. All right? The Lord hath heard my supplication. The Lord will receive my prayer. No ifs, no ands, and no buts about it. And God agrees. Let all mine enemies be ashamed and sore vexed. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly. Suddenly. That means there's no wait. You turn the light on and it's gone. They are gone. All your enemies are ashamed and sore vexed. That means the darkness destroys itself. It retreats into its own native nothingness, right? Let the dead bury the dead. It's over. It's done. Now you are wiped clean. You are wiped clean. So all of your things that you've done. Now maybe you've wronged somebody. And if you could make a list of all the people that you've wronged, if you don't think you've wronged anybody because you're a saint, fine, then you don't need to do these. But for the rest of us who are not so perfect like you, it's good to make a list of those people that you've wronged, just like we do in AA. Well, I'm not in AA, but just like they do in AA, just like AA does. You make that fearless moral inventory and confess those sins to God. And then what you're doing is you are wiping that clean. You are, when you invoke this spirit, when you invoke this infinite spirit, this infinite source of love to do this work, you are working with a different set of laws than the rest of the world that don't work this kind of work, because you are working under the laws of grace rather than the laws of karma. And that doesn't mean that cause and effect is being violated, because that cannot be. It's just that there's a higher cause now, so you will have a higher effect. And it can appear as though that you are reversing all the laws of time and space when that happens, but it's not that case at all. It's just that cause and effect is happening on a different plane. So when you are forgiven, and you forgive yourself by forgiving others, when you bring this light into your deep mind, what you are in fact doing is you are no longer under the law of karma, you are now under the law of grace. And that means that all the consequences for your problems are wiped clean, and you can start again. And you don't have to worry about misusing this power and like, okay, well, so every time I do something wrong, it's like the Catholic going to confession, that everything's okay. No, because doing this kind of work, it's not perfunctory, it's deep work, creates a new person. You are a new person. You're not the same person that you were. And so you're not going to be making those kinds of mistakes anymore. Not that you'll never make a mistake again, but you're not going to be going down those paths anymore, because the very thing that heals you from having to suffer the consequences of those wrong actions and those wrong thoughts is the same, the same power that is creating a new thought form, which creates different kinds of behavior patterns, so that won't happen again. You won't be going and doing those things again. That will be all. That's remember in the New Testament when Jesus healed, I don't remember who he healed, because I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm mostly the Psalms, but when he healed her, I think it was a woman, and just his admonition to her was, go forward and sin no more, meaning don't do that again. Don't do that again. But he reversed the laws. He reversed the laws for her, and the Psalms will do that for you as well if you read them in the way that I've outlined. And you can get your own inner meanings too. You don't have to just use the ones that I've suggested. That's just the first pass. But if you keep going through Psalm 6 over and over and over again, maybe you do this every, like 2-3 times a day for a while. Just really get into the psalm. You'll notice that you are purified completely, and a lot of the problems that are related to those guilt feelings will seem to just kind of disappear and unravel in very miraculous ways. So I hope that was interesting for you. Now, just a reminder on this: if you are using the candle, let the candle burn down and out. And these guys here, this will work forever. This doesn't have an expiration date, so it'll continue to broadcast these energies until this is deactivated. But if you're like me and you do a psalm a day and a talisman a day, you just remember that our maximum of active talismans is 3. It's the energies start to seem to get diluted when we have more than 3. So in that case, when it's time to deactivate one, you just rip it. And as long as you've ripped the circle open, that's sufficient, but you can also rip it into pieces. That's fine. And when you do that, you'll take a minute and really feel the energy of that talisman being released into your aura, into your energy body, all through your chakras. And it feels wonderful. And what that does is then that energy becomes permanent in your energy body. So it's not like you're deactivating and it's something that no longer exists for you. Actually, each of these build on each other. All right, so it's so wonderful to talk with you and be with you. And I hope you enjoyed Psalm 6, and I hope you work with it. Until next time, blessed be.